But speaking of big words, how about big numbers?
Oh.
Because have you heard the bird is the word? The price, the asking price that Vince McMahon apparently has in his mind for how much he wants from Prince Mohammed bin Solomon over there, or whoever is in charge of Endeavor these days, or whoever the front runners are, $9 billion for the WWE, lock, stock, barrel, and paralegals. Everything out the door, send the trucks, everything must go, haul it off. We've been hearing $6 billion, and we thought, okay, that's, we were trying to, you and I, over several conversations over these programs, have tried to justify why that a company would pay or some conglomerate or whatever would pay $6 billion for the company. If the theory is that if one of the broadcast affiliates would want to just save the rights fees by buying the company, but a large part of the company's revenue is the rights fees they were paying, and chase that down the rabbit hole. Now, $9 billion? What do you think there, Wizard of Wall Street?
I think it all circles back to the Saudis, because they're the only ones who could actually pay that kind of money without taking on massive debt. That's why it's a limited pool of who could actually purchase WWE. Because you're not just paying what it's worth, you're paying some semblance of a multiple here. And there are all these issues about how much they're going to get for the rights fees. There are a lot of issues going forward. There aren't a lot of buyers right now. Everyone's paring back. And this is a major purchase. This is bigger than most media purchases. Go look. So I think it circles back to the Saudis, because they could pay, quite frankly, they could pay any amount of money.
Yeah.
And not have to take on various financial institutions as a partner to raise the money to do it.
And they don't have to justify anything they spend either, right? They don't have to make a profit. They don't have to report to any stockholders. They don't have to say boo to a goose, as Adrian Street used to say. They can just say, here's billions of dollars, and we've got more in cash, and we got a swimming pool of money, a Scrooge McDuck money bin. We swim in it daily.
If they had an IRS, they could declare it all as promotional sponsorships, and there you go.
If they had an income tax arrangement, they would run the income tax arrangement to begin with. The whole country is their fucking bank, right? And they have endless supplies of crown jewels and gold and fucking palaces and goddamn and oil
and wrestlers
and soon to be wrestlers. So, okay, $9 billion with the Saudis, if they wanted it. Here's the thing. Vince was definitely involved in the original relationship with the Saudis, the origin of it and the start of it and development of it. So he has their cell phone number. Do you think that we've been speculating on whether or not he saw that, okay, the rights fees aren't going to work out like we've said, and we're going to lose a few billion off the top, so let's sell it now and, cash out whatever. That was speculation I had. Maybe he not only thought that, but reached out to whoever he would reach out to over there in Saudi Arabia to say, hey, what would you think if I asked you for $9 billion for the place? And he already knew that's what they'd go for? Possibly.
We were thinking about moving offices. We were thinking we could either go downtown or maybe Riyadh. We don't know.
Yeah. We're in the middle of the new office move. We're spending a lot of money. They really are. They're supposed to move into the new place this year. Maybe now they've. Goddamn it. 8 stories in fucking Stamford, Connecticut. Everything must go. But no, seriously, maybe if the rights fees not being what they want, or them speculating they're not going to be what they want, then that drops Comcast out, and your boy Farber kind of spoiled that too. Maybe Faber. Comcast is out.
Faber.
And as you said, anybody else would have to take on pretty massive debt besides one of the streaming services or conglomerates, and they've potentially figured out the rights fee thing, or one of the broadcasting conglomerates. So then Endeavor, do they want the WWE? They'd have to pay more than they paid for the UFC when they're still in the hole for the UFC, correct? Quite a large amount of money.
I mean, that's the thing. When they bought the UFC, they didn't just have all that cash on hand. Most people, most companies don't. You know, Vince McMahon wanted to buy back his own company. He would need partners. He would need help. He would need banks. And Endeavor's an interesting name because of the UFC specifically, because of who works there, because of the connections all throughout the entertainment industry. Does that mean connections with advertisers? Can you have an advertiser-supported wrestling show if you don't have a partner on American TV? I mean, there's a lot of interesting questions about what the future is, because if you're buying WWE with the expectation you're going to get this rights fee, and you have a better chance of getting the rights fee if you're not the company paying it, and you're the purchaser, than not. So if that's what you're buying it for, and you have to justify this massive price tag and what you're actually getting for it, and what you're getting for it is future profits. That's what people are buying companies for, is the money it can make in the future. You have to wonder if they see any play at all in a future beyond traditional television and the massive rights fees. If those rights fees are going to drop, you know, at what point do you start trying to self-distribute, and would that even work? And again, I'm just throwing ideas out there, but I guess my point is, I think it would be a very, very hard thing to justify for Endeavor. If I was a board member of Endeavor, I don't think I would want this.
Or you could be a member of the royal family of a filthy rich country that has absolutely no controls whatsoever and does what it wants to do.
You know what the problem is too? Wrestling, I think, to a lot of people, especially in entertainment, seems like this fun thing that anyone could do, not understanding that it's still a unique business.
That's been my experience for the past 30 years. They think that.
Yeah, and some of them could do it like in the ring, like a Logan Paul or even a Bad Bunny. Some of these guys can perform, but I'm talking about the business end of it. I think a lot of the executives and different people think it's easier than it is, and then it's a rude awakening because it's still a very unique business, and it always will be, with unique people. And it's, you know, UFC is too, to be fair, but they're going to be paying a lot more money for WWE, and you have to figure out where that money's coming from in the future. There'll always be money. I'm not saying like WWE is going to not produce any income, but is it going to produce profits over the next 10 years to justify the debt payments you're going to pay, the interest you're going to pay every year? I don't know. It's a real tough purchase for that price specifically.
Yeah, because well, we can't do that math. Even you, I can't do any math, but even you wouldn't be able to do the math because we don't know the parameters or the numbers. But it's not just going to cost somebody $9 billion. It's going to cost them $9 billion plus whatever interest going forward that they have to pay to not get thrown in jail for the bulk of the $9 billion that they borrowed.
That's right. That's right. If you have to borrow, let's just throw a number out there. And
how the fuck would you nobody will live long enough to make a profit on this deal, will they? Go ahead, your simile.
Yeah, let's just say you have to borrow somewhere between $5 and $7 billion to finance this. Let's say you come to the table with a lot of money, but you still need to borrow $5 to $7 billion. It's a lot of interest. That's a lot of interest. And again, if the television rights profits don't continue the trajectory they've been on, and I don't know that they can, and I don't even think that's about WWE, I think that's about life. I think this is a problem going forward. I think to me, that's the biggest issue. For me, if I was someone actually interested in purchasing WWE, that'd be the biggest issue.
Well,
what do you think's going to happen? What do you the way this is all playing out, the way it's all played out specifically since Vince came back and everyone shot down the poor reporter who reported about the Saudis, and then he had to delete the tweet and go into hiding. How this is playing out, what do you think is going to happen? And when?
Well, here's the thing. Nick Khan, would you agree, is not a person who likes to look foolish in public, right?
I would agree, yes. He wants you to take him seriously, absolutely.
So then why from his own lips would he give this is going to be happening over the next 3 months? Why would he say that unless they were pretty sure it was? He didn't have to lock himself into a short period of time like that, or a short estimate like that. He goes, it will be happening this year, or we believe it, blah, blah, blah. So he don't like to look foolish. So that was kind of a thing. Vince coming back pretty suddenly, bursting into the room, as it were, in a dramatic fashion, and going, we're selling this thing and I'm in charge of it. They obviously know something we don't know because they're involved in it. But it seems like, the old I Love Lucy episode where she was about to give birth. The time is now. And everybody goes into a panic. Let's do this. So they know something, and something's going on. And
they're going to close at Mania. Watch.
No, come on.
They're going to close at Mania. If you were going to buy WWE, where would you want to do it? And if you were hot-shotting to the very last second, where would you want to get that person to sign that deal?
So then the Fullers say, just sign right here.
I have a pen.
You know what? That's a pretty good goddamn idea, because then can you see the big screen at WrestleMania? The fireworks go off after the main event, and then suddenly there's Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or whatever his fucking name is. Welcome to Saudi Mania.
Here's your new owner, and then he gets booed out of the building the first night.
But wait, then he's the new owner, and he says, and we will praise Allah with the WWE. And then all of a sudden, No Chance in Hell plays. And here comes Vince, and he struts down the fucking deal without tearing his quads. And he says, but you overlooked the loophole. I'm still in charge, and I stand for America. And then every fucking show thereafter is the Americans versus the Saudis.
By the way, what a heel turn by Vince, Mr. I wasn't in the military, but I love patriotism, and I pretend like military school meant I was in the military, and I love America. By the way, the Saudis have a bunch of money. I'm going to take it. I'm going to split the difference. I think WWE will be sold to the Saudis, but Nick Khan will go to Endeavor.
So you're saying Khan to Endeavor, WWE to Saudis, and I'm saying 25 or 6-4.
And I'm saying this, if any, I'm trying to think of who the possibilities are. If any American-based, predominantly media holdings company purchases WWE at anywhere near that price, I thought $6 billion was an issue. They're going to lose. You're going to, I'd say about 18 months, give or take later, in the newspapers, we're going to start seeing stories about people being fired, not even just from the wrestling company, from the corporate side. People being fired from making this decision. This is going to go down as a bad one. That's what I think. For that price.
Who's going to be in charge of all the tape, of all the history of wrestling that's left in that mountain vault somewhere?
Which one, theirs or ours?
Theirs.
Okay.
I'm not telling everybody where ours is, but theirs. That's at this point, that's what I'm worried about. If it was just that company's history, that'd be one thing, but it's everybody's that they've picked up. Everything. And that's just, bullshit. But anyway.
And they don't even use it. That's the thing. They bought it to just put it on a shelf. Like, it's not even, you can't go and watch all these hours of wrestling that they've purchased. And it's going to get worse. That's not going to get better. That's going to get worse.